talk. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This was the most requested video when I did a poll over on Instagram. If you're not following me over there, go check it out. If you're a return subscriber, thank you so much for watching. I love the community that we're starting to build and grow over here on my channel. And today I'm going to talk to you guys about home birth versus hospital birth. This, like I said, was the most requested video. My daughter is 7 weeks old, and so I've been taking the time to do even stats and different things. And I promise this will not be boring, but I'm going to do a very quick home birth versus hospital birth pro and con list. Let's start with hospital birth. I have had a hospital birth with my son and I had a home birth with my daughter. Both experiences were vastly different. I feel like no matter how many births you have, they're all so different. But this one, my hospital birth experience wasn't the best. So I took some time to research just hospital facts and different things like that so that I didn't have just negative facts to come off. And so I talked to friends that I know that have amazing hospital births. And so I feel like I have a list down here, so I'm gonna be looking down. I feel like I have a good sense of, okay, here are some good pros and here are some good cons for both sides. So let's get started. First, I'm gonna start with the pros. The first pro is that in case of an emergency, you are already right there in the hospital. That if something were to happen, if you need a C-section, if you need a vacuum, if you need anything like that, in case of an emergency, you're right there in the hospital. You don't need to go anywhere. And I think that's just the first obvious, hey, I'm in a hospital. They have absolutely everything I need to deliver this baby if there's an emergency. Number two on the pro list for hospitals is that there are years of medically trained professionals that are going to help safely deliver your child into the world. I think the same could be said. I actually know the same could be said for home births, but I definitely wanted to put this on the list for hospital birth. Number three for hospital births is that hospital births will give you all the supplies necessary for your first few days at home as best as they can. So they'll give you, if you're a formula fed mom, they'll give you formula for your first few days there and your first few days at home. They'll give you the big old diapers that you need to wear. They'll give you the witch hazel spray, the pad, the chucks, all of the things that you need. They'll send you home with a big old bag of supplies that you need to make it through your first day physically, first few days with that baby. Number four on the pro list for hospitals is that the pain medication is right there at hand. I think that this is kind of the same in case of emergency, but I felt like this is a little different, is that if you are delivering just fine, but you say, I want pain medication to help me manage through my birth, it's right there, it's at your aid. Whereas with a home birth, you don't have that. Now let's get into the con list for hospital births. My first con for hospital births that I heard from all mothers was that food and fluid intake is limited. We being that the mothers that I talked to and myself, I understand the reasoning of like you can choke on your food and different things if you have a C-section, if they need to, and I understand the reasoning. However, food is nourishment and food is also fuel, to fuel your body to allow you to continue having the energy to birth that child. So food and fluid is very limited with a hospital birth. My second con on hospital births is that hospitals have a set limit amount of time that they'll allow you to go without intervening, whether that's a C-section, which would be the farthest extreme, or a vacuum or a hose or whatever they need to do to help get that baby out. They have a set amount of time for each hospital that they will allow you to go before that baby, they ask you if they can intervene. Number three on the con list for hospitals is that hospitals have such high costs that if your insurance doesn't cover it all, you will be stuck footing the rest of that bill, and that can be very high. I would say from my own experience with my son, our insurance covered some of the bill, but then we were stuck with quite a big bill left over. Depending on what type of insurance you have, you could have your hospital bill covered completely by your insurance, which I would put then on the pro list for having a hospital. But the con side of that is that if you don't have an amazing insurance plan, or if you are uninsured, your hospital bill will not be covered and you will be stuck footing that bill. Now let's move into the home birth section. You can tell that I get excited because that was my most recent birth with my daughter and I adored it. It was amazing. Let's start with the cons to a home birth. The con to a home birth is that insurance may not cover your bill. Insurance views home birth as kind of negligent and irresponsible. When I looked it up on the 2 insurance plans that we had for both my son and for my daughter, we had switched insurance providers. So they view it as not a actual way to deliver, and so they do not cover that bill. There is an insurance plan that we did have with my son that had we birthed at home, we would have paid the bill up front, and then we would have submitted the bill to us, and it was up for them to decide how much of that they were going to reimburse to us. But like I said, it's up to the insurance providers. They can provide 0, or they can provide all of it, or they can provide anything in the middle. So that is a con for home birth. My second con for home births is that you do have to be transferred to a hospital in case of an emergency. So if the baby is stuck or positioned weird, or mama's just getting too tired and just kind of giving out. I'm not saying giving up, giving out. Your body's just giving out. In that case, you would then be transferred to a hospital. And that wait time, I know a lot of people are very worried about that wait time and that transfer in between. That was not a concern for me personally, because we live so close to 3 major hospitals, and so that transfer time was going to be so quick. But I do know that depending on where you live, you might want to take that in consideration when you're looking at home birth versus hospital birth, because that transfer time can be very important depending on the case. I'll link the article below, but the rate for infancy deaths is actually so very low. I think some people think I'm at home or I deliver at home, my child is going to die. That's not actually the case. The rate for infancy deaths is so very low, and that is why I think it's so vitally important that you be so picky and choosy with the midwife and the doula and the support team that you surround yourself with when delivering. They need to be experienced, they need to know what they're doing, and they need to support you and what your goals are for your birth. I want to start this video off by saying, to me, it doesn't matter if you deliver at a hospital or home. All of you are champions, all of you are amazing, but I will say I have a personal preference. I think everyone does. But I will say, I think that everybody, absolutely everyone, should deliver where they are comfortable. It doesn't matter, like I said, hospital or home birth. You need to deliver where you're comfortable. Because if you are comfortable, then your birth is going to go so much better, because you have the peace of mind to know I'm delivering where I am most comfortable. My pros for home birth is that you are in a comfortable atmosphere. You're in a familiar place. You can eat what you want, you can drink what you want, you can move around, you can move to your living room, to your bedroom, to the bathroom, you can take a warm bath, you can diffuse your oils, you can put on candles, you can put on worship music, you can put on rap music. You can do what you want, and you are in complete control because you are in your own space. And that was my second pro to a home birth, is that you are in complete control of your birth. And so I think that's the amazing part of having a home birth, is that you get to say, hey, I want to move, hey, that's not comfortable, hey, I would like to. And I think your birthing staff will always give you suggestions, but just like in a hospital, these are suggestions. In a hospital, it is a little different when it comes to the emergency. They're not suggestions, they're needing to do things for emergency. But I did have a nurse friend tell me that IVs and monitors and different things, they are suggestions. They don't ever frame them as suggestions, but they are suggestions to say this is what we think is best, but you can always refute something. And so just for me at home, I was able to not have to refute something. I was able to just flow and just be able to diffuse the things and put on worship music and get out of the pool and get back in the pool and move to the living room with ease and the comfort of knowing that I was in control. So I kind of wrapped in 2 pros. I'm getting confused on if I'm on pro and con. I wrapped in 2 pros on the home birth. So my third pro is the price. Birthing at home is such a reduced price compared to a hospital birth, and while your insurance may not cover it, a lot more people have $3,000 lying around or can pay easier than $10K. So I think it's so much easier to pay off $3,000 than it is $10,000. And so the reduced price of a home birth to me was amazing. I think it depends. I won't say that it's $3K for everyone. It wasn't $3K for us, but everybody has a different amount depending on where you live, depending on your midwife standards, depending on her amount of training and years of experience. So if you're looking into a home birth, I definitely look and see what the midwife of your choosing's price is, but it's definitely a reduced price compared to a hospital. The last pro that I have on my home birth list is there's no pressure for intervening until absolutely necessary. you have the free flowing to be able to birth without any pain medication. And I don't think that pain medication is the devil to birth. I used pain medication with my son when I was about to go in for my C-section. So I definitely have done it, and I don't regret it because it was necessary at that point. But I think delivering naturally, I was so much more comfortable to be in my body and in the moment, and the birthing experience was mine and I got to own it. And I would say that for my son, for me personally, I felt very out of body. I felt very much like other things were happening to me and I wasn't able to control that. But for the birth with my daughter, I felt very in my body and very just liberated because I could feel every movement and everything. I felt her drop, I felt my water break, I felt all of the things without any intervention. So I think that is definitely a pro to a home birth. And guys, that is it for my pro and con home birth video. I hope that this was helpful to you if you're trying to decide to have a home birth or a hospital birth. If so, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any more questions, please leave them in the comment box below. I would love to answer them. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting my channel. Bye.